Hello and welcome to a video all about drawing. Today we're going to be drawing a sphere. To do that, I'm going to be using three pieces of equipment. The first is a pencil, which is an HB pencil. The second piece of equipment I'm going to be using is a eraser. This one is a putty eraser. And the last one we're going to be using is going to be a paper stump. And this is simply a tightly round piece of paper that we can use to smudge things. So, to draw a sphere, what you need to start off with doing is drawing a circle. Now, drawing a circle is quite tricky unless you try to loosen up your movements. So, most people will try and draw a circle by drawing very small little marks like this. The trouble with that is you end up with a circle that looks a bit strange and a bit sort of furry almost. So let's get rid of that. And instead we need to use much better practice, which is using loose lines to make a circle. So I'm going to move my hand in a nice neat circle, and very gradually I'm going to start drawing my circle. If you keep going round, eventually you'll end up with something very similar to a circle. There we are. And then I can then use my rubber to remove the edges I no longer want. Now, don't worry if your circle doesn't look perfect. I mean, this is not perfect either, but this is a sketch. So just getting used to drawing shapes. Now I've got my circle, I can then go over it with a bit harder pencil lines just to give it a bit more definition, make it clearer. Okay, there's my circle. Now the next thing I'm going to do is, I've got a bit of that bit, is I need to think about the light source. The light source is where the light is coming from in the picture. Now for the benefit of this picture, the light source is coming from the top right, so I want to draw an arrow pointing downwards. So now we're going to draw the cast shadow, which is the shadow that is being cast by the sphere because it's blocking the light. Now we're going to do that just below this, the sphere, and we're going to start here, pressing a bit harder because this is the point at which the sphere is actually touching the surface. And then we're just going to make a small oval shape going in a direction away from the light source, just very roughly. Like that. Okay, so that's my shadow. The next thing we do, I'll be sorting that out soon as well. So next we're going to be drawing the actual shading on the actual sphere. To do that, we're going to do the fun bit, which is doing lots of squiggles. So we're going to squiggle around on the sphere where we think the shade will be. So the squiggles will be closest where the sphere will be darkest, which is the side, the faces away from the light source. And then the squiggles will be looser like this as the curve of the sphere comes round to be nearer the surface that's facing the light source. So we keep doing this. And I'm going to go over a little bit further, a bit more around the edge that is furthest from the light source. So hopefully you can see we got a bit of shading appearing now. Be quite loose around here. I'm going to leave this part here pretty much blank because that's where the light is shining onto. Trying to keep inside the lines. And once you've done that, then a bit harder down here. Then we get our paper stump. This is used to blend graphite onto the paper. So we could use our finger, or we could use a tissue as well if you don't want to buy a paper stump. The thing about paper stumps is they are better than using your finger because your finger has got oil on the skin, and that can be left on the paper if you use your finger to smudge, and that will make it difficult to then go over with another layer of graphite. So now we're just going to go over the squiggles we've drawn in small circular movements, just blending it. You'll see all straight away how the squiggles are becoming less defined and more a solid colour. So I'm now going to do curved lines, just following the shape of the ball, the sphere. Round, like that. Remember to leave the very top right of the sphere pretty much empty, because that's the part that's facing the light source. The idea is try and get rid of most of the squiggles, if not all of them, and keep that curve going all the way around. Remember, you can do this with your finger, or you can do this with a tissue. And there we have the shading on the sphere. Okay, and now you may have noticed we haven't done the shadow, the car shadow, so let's do that now. Like so. Try to go over the edge with this, because you don't want your shadow to be very sharp. Like that. And there is our sphere. The last thing we can do is just go back to the point where the sphere is touching the surface, and then with the edge of our pencil, just make it a bit darker to give our sphere some weight. Okay, so this is our sphere. Now, to remind ourselves about the things and what we need to do to make this, the first thing we do is we draw a circle for the outside of the sphere. Then we choose the light source. Then we draw the car shadow, which is going to be a very flat oval. And then we do squiggles, and the closer the squiggles are, the darker the area is going to be, and the looser the squiggles are, the lighter the colour of the surface will be. And then we get our paper stump, or our tissue, or our finger, and then we blend all the graphite together to form our finished sphere. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed looking at this video. Have a go at doing this yourself, and I'm sure your pictures will be amazing. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to this video, and if other people like it, I'll do some more videos like this in the future. Okay, bye bye.